So this part everybody probably would want to watch and listen to, because I've talked about it before on live streams and in videos before, but never really addressed it too much. And that is why I suppose the picture turned up there, and it's the elephant in the room. I quite literally is the elephant. Now there's two elephants, as I say. But yeah, I suppose the reason why I suppose why I like Sana so much, and I think she's well. Like, let's be fair, she is the best in my opinion. She always will be the best, especially after meeting her. That's a different story, but I think she's a good person. I really, really do, and that's really sums up her. And I do think she's a great politician. Even meeting her that time too, you could really tell that you were meeting somebody that was a really, really good person and just an amazing person to be around. And usually, I meet politicians and despised by them, and it was really, really positive encounter. But before that, I suppose Sanna Marin, I suppose in a way I can relate to a lot of Sanna Marin's growing up, particularly when she was younger, and of course at a young age too, taking the role as the Prime Minister. Not that I want to be Prime Minister or anything that of any country or Ireland or anything, but what I'm trying to say, it's quite impressive. Particularly the background, if you know Sanna's background, it was a tough upbringing she had. And in a way too, our family didn't have any money, and I can relate to that. My family didn't have great wealth. My mother and father worked hard. They didn't go to college, etc. And they worked hard, and the same as Sanna, my father did drink the same as Sanna's father was an alcoholic, not to the extent of Sanna's father, of course, and of course my parents separated too, so I can relate to basically all that pretty much. I can relate very much to that, and I can see a good bit of me in Sanna Marin when she was younger too, in a lot of cases, your young life, etc. And I do take, and obviously hope being the youngest Prime Minister in the world, etc. And 34 too, that and Sanna's career, I suppose, what it emphasises to me, and I suppose the main thing too, is, and what Sanna stands for too, is that if you work hard and you try your best and you do your best and you're honest and upfront with people, because that's another trait of Sanna Marin. She's always honest and upfront with people, and I really admire that, because she's you might not like what she says or what she thinks, but she will just say what she thinks straight out. And in fairness to Sanna, she does do that. Like, she doesn't hold back. Whatever she thinks, she says. And even if I didn't, don't agree what she said, she will say it. Regardless. And I admire a person, because a lot of politicians beat around the bush and go everywhere to try and make up a big roll of lies, and try to make up stuff and try to I suppose ease the burden. But Sanna would just say, yeah, straight out, yeah, I don't agree with this, or I don't agree with that, or I agree with this, and this is how we should do it. And you have to admire politicians, because there's not many politicians that be willing to just say the thing straight out without I suppose sugarcoating it in a way too. And I have great admiration for her. And of course, as I say, she didn't come from wealth, etc. And we expect that, because many people in her situation would have probably give up in life, and unfortunately that's the reality in a lot of cases. But yeah, from humble beginnings she became the Prime Minister, etc. And of course, she worked meaningless jobs, and I can relate to a lot of it too, because obviously I sweep the streets, etc. But I can relate to it in a different aspect than the cashier and somebody that worked in the bakery, and that's what she did with her first few jobs. But I can relate to that, and I can relate to Sanna, and particularly if you read her book Hope in Action and stuff, particularly when she started getting involved in politics. Me being me too, I can relate in a lot of ways to what she went through when she first got into politics too and stuff, with the political establishment, etc. You can see that, and have great respect for the woman for that too. But pretty much what she means to me, I suppose, and why I have her on the wall, I do think she's a great inspiration, not just to women, to young women. And I would say to any young women, if you're watching, like, Sanna Marin is the best example you could have, and particularly for your young daughters, your teenage daughters, or even younger than that. Sanna Marin is the woman you should be following. Basically, you should be looking at for her to guidance and stuff, because she really is somebody that of course, nobody's perfect in the world, but of course Sanna has made mistakes, and I've made mistakes, everybody's made mistakes. That's what makes us human. But in fairness to Sanna Marin, she always will admit that if she was wrong, she did this wrong or she did that wrong. She always would admit, and I think that's a good trait. It is a really good trait. It's a unique trait that you won't see in many politicians. But she is a good person. I think that's the main thing. She is a good person, and I have huge admiration for her, because she went through hell as a young woman, and probably still to this day goes through hell with the media, etc. But particularly, I have great respect for her, because she did a lot for Finland too. She was very upfront, etc. In what she wanted to do, etc. And I have a lot of respect for that. And I do think she's an amazing person. Even though again, I would address it probably later on, but I do think she done great stuff with Finland. I know people would disagree maybe, but I do think she done good. And of course, with the work-life balance, etc., it's changed my view on it. We talk about that later on, but it has changed my view on Sanna Marin on that, and a few other things too. She's changed my view on it. But I do think she's a great woman, and to be totally honest, nearly everything she says too is, she is white. Like regardless of, and I'm someone that's on the right. I'm not on the left really so much of politics, but I will say she is the best person that in like the left could ever have, basically. You know, even though I don't know what Sanna, probably she would describe herself as left, but you know, we get what I'm saying. Like she is the great example of the left. Let's put that way, and she is a good person. I can't emphasize that enough, but she is generally a good person, and I don't think people realize that. And we see it all the time on social media that people say about Sanna, etc. But she is really, really good person. It's not that until you meet her and stuff like that you know that, because she is a really unique person to meet. So basically, to sum it all up, why the picture turned up there. So basically, it actually was when I was starting my job, first of all, when I got the picture. I got it online. We were going to get it done up and stuff, but basically it was supposed to be a lot bigger, as you can see. It is big, it's quite big. When you take it down, there's a photo up in the community post, but this is a quite big picture, and of course it's on my hat too, the same one. But yeah, it's quite a big picture, but yeah, it was supposed to be bigger and stuff, but yeah, I think Sanna Marin was just a great person and a great leader, and I have huge admiration for the woman, and I suppose I've listened to what she had to say, and listened to everything she has to say, basically. And she is right in a lot of stuff, and it's changed my views of stuff. And not many politicians have ever done that, basically. And above all else, it does give me hope that there is good politicians out there. Even though I'm not so friendly with the Irish government, etc., and the current Finnish government. But it's good to see that there is politicians that care about people, and do have a good heart and there to serve the people. Because Sanna never done it for money or fame. She done it for the people, and that's the thing you have to remember. And it's very, very honest that she did it for the people. But yeah, I got it online, the picture. Now people ask me often too how much it cost. It was 100 and. We got 100, I think it was 135 or something like that, which was a lot of money, but it's not, still we got it though. But it was my first paycheck I ever got, and I put the picture up. I wanted to do it because there was an old map of Ireland basically behind me, and that was not as eye-catching, I suppose, and stuff. But I do think it was a good investment. I'm happy with it. It's so unique now. We were going to change it when the room was painted to a newer picture of Sanna Marin, but I think it's too unique now that we can't really get rid of it. We wouldn't know what to get rid of it, but it would to update a version of it, if it makes any sense. But yeah, like that's how it really all came about, because I have huge admiration for the woman. She is a true inspiration to me. That's without even talking about the other photo, because this will be here before the other one. But yeah, she is just a true inspiration. We could talk about it all day, but yeah, many, many different things. She's changed my views on it, and I suppose what she represents too, and this is the other thing, on the other side of the coin, what she represents too, and I agree so much with her. You always listen to the person, and you hear their point of view, you hear where they're coming from, and I to be genuinely honest, even before I heard the Sanna Marin and stuff, I always was that kind of person that would always hear what the person had to say. Even though I didn't agree with them, I fundamentally didn't agree with them, I always hear them out and hear what they have to say and understand. They're coming from this direction, they see it this way, they see the world. Because everybody sees the world in a different way, and this is the thing. We all see the world in a different way in our brains, and what we see in different subjects and different issues. But it's to understand, because we can't say if I have this opinion and then the other person has another opinion. We have to understand, how did that person get this opinion? How did they get there to this opinion? And how does it differ from mine? And how can you maybe meet them in the middle, etc. And I've always been that type of person before I even knew Sanna Marin, etc. And she is that type of person. And in fairness, though, there's not many politicians like that with what to understand what people are thinking and understand the people's different points of views, because it's important. Because we all are biased in terms of subjects and stuff. We all are biased. I'm a bit biased when it comes to Sanna Marin, but we all are biased in a small way in different topics, etc. People will protect, etc. But you have to understand where people are coming from. I think that's really important. Of course, to treat people fairly and to treat people fair when you're talking to them. like very seldom you see me on a live stream or anything that like shouting somebody down or something like saying, "Oh, you're an evil person," or "You're worse than this, that, and the other." I'm always very respectful because you have to respect people's views, even though you personally don't agree with. That's democracy. That's freedom. Um, and not even that too. It's important in society, and I think it's important that people have their views, etc. And people are allowed to speak and have their views, and disagree respectfully. And I think that's what Sandra Mowen taught me. Well, before that even was always like that, but particularly to reinforce that, I suppose is the way to put it. That you have to understand people where they're coming from, etc. Their views, etc. Their beliefs, what they see in the world, how they see the world, because we all see it differently. And how we conduct ourselves to be fair with people and to be honest with people. I think Sandra Mowen stands for that too for me, and I do think she's like a person that we should all, anybody that's in politics, etc., either be right or left or whatever you are, we should all kind of work towards. If everybody was like a bit like Sandra, we'd be in a perfect world. Even if we had 5% of the politicians like Sandra here, we would be in the better country. But no, she is. One in a million, one in a billion, may I say so? But that's pretty much how it all came about. And basically, when I got the picture up, it was the biggest meme as well for the longest time. It probably still is in the nationalist community and stuff because I hold it often on other live streams and stuff. This other Irish nationalist that has a picture of Sandra Mowen and stuff, and I suppose in the way just looking at the other side of that coin too. Just when I'm talking about this bit. Well, I probably will talk about other things in like coming up in the next parts. Rephrasing other stuff because the other bits of what to add to it. But of course, I'm more, I suppose, conservative on a few issues and stuff. But I don't let that stand in my way of my support for Sandra Mowen and stuff. I never did. There was often people that would criticize me and stuff for being a supporter of Sandra Mowen because she's left, somebody on the left, etc. But I think it's a meaning of democracy too, that you support a person that you see that has done good and stuff, that has done good, and you're willing to speak out, and regardless of your political views. And again, it wasn't that I was going to achieve anything, get a big medal or something for taking Sandra side, etc. Because at the end of the day, I would have been better off probably never to say anything. But no, I wanted to show my support to her too, particularly with the dancing scandal. Around that too was when the dancing scandal, what she would refer to it as. The video that went viral on social media of her dancing in a friend's apartment on a night off, and just probably show support even there because that was around that time too, just maybe before it. But I always was basically even before she was the Prime Minister too. I heard about a young woman that was in politics in Tamperry and stuff. Because I do keep my eye on the news, international news too. And I thought about when she was on the city council in Tamperry, etc., because she was the chairperson of the city council in Tamperry, the second biggest city in Finland. And obviously she was very young, the youngest chair of the city council in Tamperry's history. And of course there was some viral moments in the Tamperry City Hall, etc., to do with budgets and particularly to do with the tram lines in Tamperry. Sandra Mowen was the person who pushed that heavily to get that done. So I knew about it before she was the Prime Minister. And I always had great respect for the woman. Very deep respect. But going back to my other point, like I could have sat here and said nothing about it, but and you never said anything, but I did the right thing. That's the way, because I know a lot of people have criticised me over the years, especially recently. We get into it about the Tony Blair Institute and stuff. It's the biggest, I suppose, criticism of Sandra Mowen by other people. We get into, as I say, we get into it in a later bit of this. We will address it. I will address that too. But really, what she represents, to sum the whole lot up, that she is really just a good person, and I think I would love to strive to be on her level, but she can never be on Sandra Mowen's level. She's on another level. She's on another level compared to any of us. But of course, I don't agree with everything she's done, but I respect the way she goes about promoting our values, because at the end of the day, we all have different values. It'd be a very sad world if we all agreed on everything, basically. But I respect the woman for what she's done, and her, because again, she didn't have it easy in life, and I suppose none of us do, but she definitely didn't have it easy growing up. And I have a great admiration for the woman, really, really do. I think she's the greatest, like, generally, to be honest. And I say that's somebody that's a conservative and on the right, I suppose you would call it. But I do think she's the greatest, and of course, what it stands for too, with me having the picture of Sanna Mountain, as many people would say, left bosun, it shows that I'm not, biased. If I see somebody that's doing good work, and somebody that I know you can trust, and has shown that you can trust them, I always will support them, regardless if they're left or right, regardless of who they are. If I think they're a good person, and Sanna truly is a good person, there's no doubt in my mind. If there ever was doubt before, there's definitely no doubt before now. But it's she's an incredible person, and I would strive to. There's a lot of stuff Sanna has changed my mind on, as I say. But I do think she is just one of the greatest people of all time. It's like definitely my generation. There's no doubt about it. I know people disagree with me on that, but if you could see what I see in Sanna, you would understand. And we talk a lot more about that going into it, but I generally do think she's the best, and I don't apologise at all for putting up the picture. She's truly an inspiration, and she's a great person. And I think that's what the Summers was, and of course, I can relate to a lot of her history too when she grew up. I can relate to all that pretty much in a lot of the sense. I can see myself in a lot of her, like when she was growing up, when she was a young woman, and she still is, of course, a young woman. She might be 40, but she still is a young woman. But I can see a lot of myself with what I went through and stuff for that. And of course, I've great respect for how she got to the level of the Prime Minister, 34, etc. Like, not many people can do that. Not many people can do that and get through everything. Particularly as a woman too, it's a lot harder compared to a man, and it is the truth. Like, we might say it isn't, but it is. It's still that kind of stigmatism. But it depends on if you're fit for the job too. But of course, Sanna Mountain was fit for the job. She was born ready. Let's put that way, for the Prime Ministership. But yeah, so pretty much I have great respect for the woman, and I don't know how much more I can say that, but it is just a huge admiration for the woman, like on every level. We talk about it more to come in the next chapters, in every little detail. We talk about many things, because it's not just talking about the picture, but it's talking about how the picture ended up there. The first picture, we talk about the second picture at some point. That's going to go on for an hour or two. But yeah, no, she is truly in my mind, and even if Sanna Mountain went into Dublin now in the morning and shot 5 people, I still would defend her. Let's put that way. Like, she has gained my total trust and support. There's no doubt. I never will go back on that. Just my total trust and support at the end of my time, and whenever that comes. But she is truly one in a million, and I'm honoured to have her on my wall, of course. It's like a huge honour, and it was an honour to meet her, and we get into that too, but it was an honour. Like, I'm still a bit, I never probably would get over it, to be genuine, months later, but it was truly great. And she's just, in the sum it all up, she's generally the greatest person ever, in my view, and definitely of my time, and one of the people I look up to the most. So yeah, this is the end of that. We'll probably get into bits, and we'll probably rephrase bits over time, because there's that much to get into in different topics and stuff, but that just basically sums it up. But yeah, so it's a lot of stuff. And I probably didn't even mention half of the stuff, but that's basically how it all came about. It wasn't that the last point to end on, it's not that I was doing this for political gain or anything. I had nothing to gain by doing it. That's what I'm trying to say. I had literally nothing to gain by doing it. That's the simple thing. I had literally nothing. Like, I gained nothing from doing it. But I done it out of respect for her, and I done it out of loyalty, and I suppose admiration for such a great woman. And particularly for being a YouTuber online, etc. I suppose to express, I suppose, how great she is, I suppose, in the way too, and I suppose give inspiration too when you're talking about subjects, etc. It's great to see your idol, and I suppose I would call her my idol, behind you, behind your back, has your back. That's maybe not in all the cases I talk about online, but it's good to see that. But anyway.